And our first main topic today comes to us from Reggie Carmichael, who writes, "Hi, John and team. I heard you say the other day that Django Unchained was your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. It is, as a matter of fact. So I was wondering if you heard the story that Tarantino is doing a sequel, Django and Zorro. It's based on a comic book that was made as a sequel to the Django movie. So what do you think about this? And do you think Tarantino will actually direct it? Thanks." Yes. So speaking of, I was just talking about how I didn't even realize one or two of the songs in Rocket Man were even Elton John songs, and then I found out, so you learn something new. I didn't know about this comic book. There is a comic book that was written by Quentin Tarantino that is a sequel, a spiritual sequel, I guess, to Django Unchained. And this is the basic thing. So Django, basically, after the events of the movie, he settles down with his wife, and then he goes off to do bounty hunting to make money for them. And at that point, it's by sheer chance that he encounters the aged and sophisticated Diego de la Vega, the famed Zorro, and soon finds himself fascinated by this unusual character, the first wealthy white man he's ever met who seems totally unconcerned with the color of Django's skin, and who can hold his own in a fight. He's hired on as Diego's quote-unquote bodyguard for one adventure and is soon drawn into a fight to free the local indigenous people from a brutal servitude, discovering that slavery isn't exclusive to black folks. In the course of this adventure, he learns much from the older man, much like King Schultz, and on several occasions even dons the mask and whip. So that's the summary, that's the synopsis of the comic book version of it. Now there are reports going around that they're going to actually make it into a movie. Now, apparently Tarantino has commissioned somebody to write a script for it. There's no real official word here about whether or not Tarantino is going to get heavily involved in the script writing. He already wrote the basic story. Whether or not he would direct it, or even really if this movie is going to get made. Rob, there's a notion here that Tarantino has said he's going to retire after 10 movies, which I believe he thinks, but I don't believe will actually happen at all. Tarantino's a creative force. He's going to make his 10th film, and then about 2 years later, he'll have a new idea and he'll come out of retirement. That's what's going to happen. But I digress. If he believes that he's only going to do 10 and sign out, would he actually make a sequel as one of his, if not his final film? Would he actually do that? Would he make a sequel as one of his final films, particularly Django and Zorro? I have my doubts. He may commission it to get made, but I have my doubts that he would actually do it. As far as whether or not I'd be down for this, I think this sounds like gold. I think this sounds like total gold. I have not read this limited series. I don't know the story at all, but you just say Django and Zorro and I'm in. I think this sounds wonderful. So Rob, let me ask you this. Number one, do you think this is a movie that Tarantino would actually make? And then aside from that, is this a movie you'd be down for? And by the way, did you read this comic? Because I didn't even know this one existed.
I've not read the comic. And how cool would it be if they got Antonio Banderas to play Zorro? I mean, I love this idea. I love the first Zorro with Antonio Banderas. I think this is something Quentin Tarantino would produce. I absolutely do think that. And I think Jamie Foxx would come back. I'd love to get Antonio Banderas. I think it's a win-win all the way around. But I don't see him directing this because, he's often said in interviews that he wanted to make these 10 movies. He wanted people to look back at his career as he's looked back at other writer-directors. And I think doing a sequel, he's got this sort of shared universe that he's sort of woven through his movies, but he's never made a sequel. I don't think he will make a sequel. Kill Bill was done really as one.
Yeah, he shot that as one movie.
That they split in half. But it's I don't know. I can't see him making this as his 10th movie. I could see him shepherding it into existence, but I'd love to see it.
Do you think there would be interest amongst the general movie-going audience to see it? Because I don't know. I know I would be interested, but I can't really figure out if I think general audiences would be down for this. Do you think they would be?
Look, I think that they would, especially if you get those that character interplay. If you see Jamie Foxx and I'm now obsessed with seeing Antonio Banderas as Zorro coming back and Jamie Foxx, that interplay, and just it would be like the ultimate period buddy cop vigilante movie. And rescuing Mexican or indigenous people as slaves, how great would that be? I'm totally down for that. They're going to mete out some frontier justice, Hell yeah, bring it on.
I'm down for it.
Guns and swords.
What do you guys think? Would you be down? Well, a couple questions for you guys to leave your thoughts in the comment section below, or fire in a super chat later. Do you think this is something the general movie guys would go out and support? Would you go out and support this? Would you be down for it? And do you think Quentin Tarantino would actually direct it? I want to hear your thoughts. Let us know.